Hello everyone, it's Milo here, and I'm going to be doing another opening. Yes, I said I'm not going to do any more of these openings or try to make them less frequent. However, people keep sending me stuff for the Noob Cube, guys. I gotta open it, and I gotta pay my respects to these people for shipping me these cards. These come from Sam, who is a viewer on YouTube, and he contacted me, and he sent me these cards and let me know that he's got a pretty sweet Magic the Gathering website called magicthegatheringstrat.com, where it is podcasts, articles, and he's going to start talking about Cube, which I think that some of you might be interested in hearing about. I don't know. I went to the website. Gotta be honest, it looks a lot better than I thought it would. It actually looks pretty good. He's doing like a Pauper league now or something like that, and it seems legit. I don't know how to open these boxes. I've never been sent anything by priority before. Jeez. Look at this. Look at this. How this pops open. Here you go. Popping open. He sent me 2 starter decks of the Ravnikas. I don't know if either of these were very good. I never really bought into the pre-cons. Let's open Golgari before Dimir, I guess. This is a lot of cards, guys. Ooh, I hope you got some time, because this might take a while. All right, right off the bat, I like where this guy's going. The only problem is that the blue cards in the cube are already too good. This card's great. It's Waterfront Bouncer. 1 in a blue for a 1/1. You pay a blue and tap it and discard a card unless you unsummon something. It's pretty good. Turns all the cards you don't want in your hand into unsummons once a turn. Phantom Warrior, 2/2 unblockable. Love the art on that. Oh my god. Stitched Drake. Bad Trick. That's what we used to. This guy used to be in Cube for a really long time, actually. And I'd always have an ongoing argument with Ibrahim. Ibrahim would call this card Good Trick, and I would call it Bad Trick, just because I was like 6 mana for an unsummon isn't good enough. He would disagree, and then sometimes he would catch me playing it, and he would be like, see, it's a good trick, and I would be like, no, it's a bad trick, but I love blue. Stormbound Geist, I could see playing that, either at it, like a bad mana war. Elgard Shieldmate. Murder of Crows. I actually saw this in a Pauper cube recently, so I might actually consider putting this in over one of the more powerful blue cards just to water it down a little bit, and it's actually just an interesting dude. So Spire Monitor, I remember that guy in Limited. Mole Drifter, that's a good one. That's a nice one. Thank you very much for sending that. Whoa, what does this guy want to do to my cube? Jeez. Frost Titan, Big Papa Junk is what they call him. Errant Ephemeron. It's basically a 4/4 flyer that costs 7, but it has to spend. So you pay 1 in a blue, exile it, and then in 4 turns it comes into play with haste. Condescend. I think they just reprinted it without the scry. This could. I think I like putting something like this in over a hard counter to make blue a little bit more tricky. Like you have to work a little bit harder for your counter spells. Careful Study. It's draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards. I used to see a lot of play back in the day. Vapor Snag is a good one. Ooh, Boomerang from Legends. Not bad. This guy's sending me some pretty good stuff. This is going to be a long video. This could be a 2-parter. Alright, so Boomerang just returns any permanent to its owner's hand for 2 blue. It's an instant. Prohibit. 1 in a blue counter target spell if its converted mana cost is 2 or less, but if you paid the kicker cost, counter it if its converted mana cost is 4 or less. Instead, Train of Thought. Ooh, 1 in a blue sorcery, draw a card with Replicate. We have Think Twice, don't think twice, it's alright. Snap! Yeah! So this one is pretty sweet. It's return target creature to its owner's hand, untap up to 2 lands. We got a Thirst for Knowledge, draw 3 cards and discard 2 unless you discard an artifact. Probe, this is 2 in a blue, and you draw 3 cards and discard 2 cards. But if you paid the kicker cost, target player is the one. Oh, target player also discards 2 cards from his or her hand. Capsize Buyback. Capsize Buyback. Ghostly Flicker, it's 2 in a blue, and you exile 2 artifact creatures and or lands you control and then return them to the battlefield. Exclude, love this card. Absolutely love it. Counter creature spell, draw a card for 2 in a blue. It's a lot of the time what you would be doing if you cast Cryptic Command. It's common Cryptic Command. Mystical Teachings. A lot of people like this card quite a bit. It's 3 and a blue. Search your library for an instant or a card with flash, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library, and has flashback for 5 and a black. Deep Analysis, I was going to call it by its nickname for a second there. It's 3 and a blue, target player draws 2 cards, and then it flashes back for 1 and a blue, but you have to pay 3 life. Gosh. Blue is too good. A lot of these cards are going to just be sitting in a binder until blue becomes worse, and then we'll slowly start putting them in. Confiscates, control target permanent. Alright, we're moving to white. Another color that doesn't need a lot of help, but Doom Traveler, that's a good one. I like it. Acacian Javeliers as well. As many playable Fallen Empire cards as I can find, I'll put in the cube. Samurai of the Pale Curtain is 2/2. And it has Bushido 1, and if permanent would be put into a graveyard or removed from the game instead. That's an interesting card. Loyal Cathar. He's 2/2, but when he dies, he comes back as a 2/1. Phantom Nomad is a 0/0 with... All the Phantoms are like this. They have 0 toughness, and they get +1/+1 counters when they come into play. If damage would be dealt to a Phantom creature, you prevent that damage, and then you remove a +1/+1 counter from it. Now, if you have some way of boosting the toughness of your Phantom creatures that doesn't involve +1/+1 counters, just say you have a Glorious Anthem in play, that is a permanent bonus to the creatures, so even when all the counters are removed, it's still going to be a 1/1 that says, if damage would be dealt to it, prevent that damage. So it doesn't die. Core Skyfisher. This is definitely one that's going immediately into the cube. It's 1 and a white, 2/3 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, you return a permanent you control to its owner's hand. We have a Standard Bearer, 1 and a white for a 1/1. And then if a player plays, it's like Spellskite. If an opponent plays a spell or ability that could target a flag bearer in play, that player chooses at least 1 flag bearer as a target. Paladin and Vec. It's protection from black and red, and it has first strike, and it's a 2/2 for 3. We have a Guardian of the Guild Pack, 2/3 protection from monocolored for 4. Sarah Angel, Archangel, Noble Templar. It has plane cycling. We have an Avatar of Hope. Wow, you sent me a lot of good cards. This is a lot of cards, dude. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. It's going to change the cube significantly. Avatar of Hope is a 4/9 flyer, and if you have 3 life or less, it only costs 2 white to cast, and it can block any number of creatures. Whoa, skipping ahead here. Hold on. We have a Cloud Shift, not bad. Momentary Blink. It blinks a creature, and then has flashback for 3 and a white. Apostle's Blessing. Blinding Beam. Tap 2 target creatures during or creatures don't untap during target player's next untap step, and you can choose both of them if you pay 3 and a white. Dismantling Blow, destroy target artifact or enchantment if you pay the kicker cost, which is 2 and a blue. You draw 2 cards. Quite good, quite good. Stir the Pride, 4 and a white. Either creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn, or they have. Okay, a lot of people just call that lifelink. Whenever this creature deals damage, you gain that much life. But that can stack with lifelink, so if a creature has lifelink and has that, you gain, I guess, double the life. So it's a interesting thing to keep in mind. Viscera Seer, 1/1, sack a creature, descry 1, another shadow. It's a 1/1. If it's in your graveyard with 3 creatures above it, during your upkeep, you can return this to play. Nezumi Grave Robber exiles cards in an opponent's graveyard from the game. If they've got no cards in the graveyard, you flip the Grave Robber, who becomes a 4/2. If you haven't seen one of these cards before, this was a crazy year for Magic the Gathering, let me tell you. Night Eyes the Desecrator, and you put target creature card in a graveyard into play under your control, so your opponent's or your graveyard. And we got the Nezumi Shortfang, easily confused by which one is which, I'm sure. This is the one where it's a 1/1 for 2, and then you pay 1 in a black, and then your opponent discards a card. Then if that player has no cards in hand, you flip it. And at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player loses 1 life for each card fewer than 3 in his or her hand. Phyrexian Rager, 2 in a black, 2/2. When it comes into play, you lose a life and draw a card. Chittering Rats, something I really wanted for black. When it comes into play, target opponent puts a card from their hand on top of their library. They basically have to skip a turn. We have a hidden horror. One of these is already in the cube. I have the Weatherlight one. This one looks like it's from Starter or something. Ooh, Graveborn Muse. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose life and draw cards equal to the number of zombies you control. And it itself is a zombie. Faceless Butcher. It's like a Fiend Hunter. Keening Banshee. It's like a Necrotol kind of card. 2 and 2 black, 2/2 flyer. When it comes into play, creature gets -2, -2. Ooh, Alternate Art Gravedigger. This one is probably going to replace the Gravedigger that I have that Catherine altered because it was a Japanese Gravedigger into an English one. When it comes into play, you just get a creature back. Okiba Gang Shinobi. Got the Rat Ninjas Splinter in here in this house. This is the house that it's in. When it deals combat damage to a player, that player discards 2 cards. More Cut Banshee. If it has Morbid, so if a creature died this turn when it enters the battlefield, target creature gets negative. Profane Command. It's double black X. You choose 2. Target player loses X life. Return target creature card with converted mana cost X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, or target creature gets -X until end of turn, or up to X target creatures gain fear until end of turn. Does a lot of things, gets through a lot of damage, or this does everything. This is a first pick in Cube now. Okay, did I mention to check out MagicTheGatheringStrat.com? Geez, this guy, he sent me so many things. This is just the first box still. Reanimate, Vendetta, Undying Evil, Unearth. This is another Reanimate spell. Choose target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard, put it into play, and has cycling 2. This one is also really good. Tortured Existence. It's 1 black, and it's an enchantment. You pay a black, and then discard a creature card to return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. We have Diabolic Edict. This is perfect. I really was looking for one of these, actually. Hymn to Turak, which is great for Cube. We have Grim Harvest. I don't know this one. It's an instant for 1 and a black. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. You can recover it. So when a creature is put into your graveyard from play, you can pay it. And if you do, return this card from your graveyard to your hand. Oh, that's nice, actually. That is kind of a combo. Guess Verdict. Foiled Exhume from the Premium deck series. Dance of the Dead, which is a great reanimated spell for cubes. It's from Ice Age. And it basically, you choose a creature from any graveyard, put it into play, tapped, and then it gets +1/+1. End of your upkeep, you can pay 1 and a black to untap it. Otherwise, it doesn't untap. Barter and Blood. Each player sacks 2 creatures. Agonizing Demise, another card that used to be in my cube a long time ago. Man, it's been a long time since I've seen Agonizing Demise. It's 3 and a black. You destroy a non-black creature. It's an instant. And the creature can't be regenerated. If Agonizing Demise was kicked, it deals damage equal to that creature's power, the creature's controller. It's a pretty good one, actually. I would probably put this back in. Snuff Out. Destroys a non-black creature. It can't be regenerated. And if you control a swamp, you don't even have to pay for Snuff Out. You just pay 4 life instead. Amazing card. Really, really good card. And then we've got Ribbons of the Night. Oh, yeah. It's a sorcery for 4 and a black. It deals 4 damage to target creature, and you gain 4 life. If blue is spent to play Ribbons of the Night, you might as well draw a card. That's just the first half of this. We're just going to go straight into it. We're going to go straight into the next box, the Demir box. It's got just as many cards in it. He sent me all of his magic cards. It's crazy. All right, Killing Fiend. Played a GOP. All these cards are cards I was going to buy. I was just going to go to the store and buy them for the cube, but less so Killing Fiend, but I was curious enough about it to try it out. Keldon Champion, though, is an amazing 4-drop. If you're looking for budget cards for your cube, Keldon Champion is the one. It is 4 mana, 3/2 Echo Haste, and when it comes into play, deals 3 damage to target player. So a lot of the times it ball lightnings, and then you can keep it around if you want to pay the Echo. Gathan Raiders, it's a morph, and then you can unmorph it by discarding a card, and if you have no cards in your hand, it's a 5/5. We have a Street Spasm. Deals X damage to target creature without flying you don't control, and it overloads. You guys remember that. Whirling Earthquake, one of the better X spells that you could play in Pauper cubes. Death Spark, I remember, this was in my very, very first cube, when my cube was in penny sleeves. This is nostalgia. You're bringing me back, dude. Thank you so much for bringing me back. This card, so many memories. It deals 1 damage to target creature or player, and at the end of your upkeep, if it's in your graveyard with a creature card directly above it, you may pay 1 to put Death Spark into your hand. Alright, we have Burst Lightning. It deals 2 damage to target creature or player, and if you pay a kicker, which is 4, it deals 4 damage instead. We have Firebolt, 2 damage at sorcery speed to anything, and flashback for 4 in a red. Flame Slash deals 4 damage to a creature. It's a sorcery. There's a common theme here in red. Lots of damage dealing. Seal of Fire is like a shock in a box. Breath of Daragaz. This is a card that Lucas Childs has requested I put in the cube. I guess we're going to do that. I actually think he gave me a foiled one for the cube. Maybe I'll try that one out. Pyromatics. I don't know this one. It's 1 in a red. Has Replicate, like all the cards I don't know that he sent me. Deals 1 damage to target creature or player. Oh, that's pretty good. It's an instant. That's pretty solid. Pyroclasm. I don't know if red's going to want this. The only red deck that wants it is the one that supports blue. So I don't know if this is going to go in. It is definitely a strong card, though, and you should consider it for all Pauper Cubes. We have a Brimstone Volley. It deals 3 damage to target creature or player. Has Morbid. Deals 5 damage instead. We have a Stagger Shock, which deals 2 damage and has Rebound. And Pyrotechnics for 5 mana, 4 damage any way you choose. Fire Blast. This card's amazing. If you want mono red to be good in your cube, you definitely need a Fire Blast. It deals 4 damage for 6 mana. It's an instant, but that's usually not how it goes down, because you can actually sacrifice 2 mountains instead of paying its cost, and it's a great finisher. After you tap out to cast all your other burn spells, sack 2 tap mountains. There you go. We have a Wildfire. I think we're gonna try out the Wildfire. I'm excited about it. Green. Moving on to green, we have a Young Wolf, Glade Cover Scout, Multani's Acolyte. This is another card that was in my original cube. 2 green, 2/1 Echo, and when it comes into play, you draw a card. It's an elf. We have a Quirion Dryad, which is a 1/1 for 2. Whenever you play a white, blue, black, or red spell, it gets a +1/+1 counter. Werebear is 2 mana, 1/1, taps for green mana, but if you have Threshold, which is 7 or more cards in your graveyard, it gets +3/+3. It becomes a really mad bear. Elvish Visionary, which is a card people have suggested I put in the cube. It's 1/1, draws a card when it comes into play. Another card people suggested was River Boa. It has Island Walk, and it's 2 mana for a 2/1 with Regenerate. Viridian Emissary, I actually played recently in a Pauper Cube. When it dies, it's 2/1. When it dies, you get a basic land, put it into play tapped. Silhana Ledge Walker, it's 1/1 hexproof, basically, for 2, and it can't be blocked except by creatures with flying. You have My Elder. This guy has a ton of different names. If you know of a funny nickname for You Have My Elder, let me know in the comments. It's 3 mana for a 2/1. When it goes to the graveyard from play, you may search your library for up to 2 basic lands, reveal them, put them into your hand. If you do, shuffle your library, and then you pay 2, sack it to draw a card. Important to note that if you do pay 2, sack it to draw a card, you get your lands before you draw the card. Joriel Centaur, 2/2 for 3, flanking, and he has Shroud. Another creature with Shroud is Blastoderm, which 5/5, fading. I have Kelsiderm in the cube, so finally get the original one now. We have Croson Tusker, cycles for, it cycles, it's 6/5 for 7, and when you do cycle it, you search your library for a basic land and put it into your hand. Prey Upon, green removal, Vines of Vastwood, the best pump spell, I think, for Pauper Cubes. We have a Sprout Swarm, it's 2 mana, instant, with Convoke, and you put a 1/1 green Saproling creature token into play. Beast Within, green removal, not bad. Now we're moving on to some gold cards. Coiling Oracle is one that I always kind of wanted to put in the cube, but in the Noob Cube, but green-blue is kind of a tight slot. There's a few cards I'd like to see in there, but I don't know if we can make room for it. Another blast from the past here is Fleetwood Panther. It's 3 mana for a 3/4 flash. It's Selesnya. When it enters the battlefield, return a green or white creature to your owner's hand. We've got the Arena promo, We Dragonauts. Wow, really cool. It's 1/3 flying whenever you play an instant or sorcery spell. We Dragonauts. Get +2/+0 until I kind of feel like I just have to put this one in now. Doomsday Spectre. When it comes into play, you bounce a black or blue creature you control. It was a theme back then, and I forget what this is called, what set this is, Plane Shift. When it deals combat damage to a player, you look at their hand, you choose a card from it, and your opponent discards that card. We've got a Loxodon Hierarch. It's a 4/4. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 4 life, and you can pay a green and white and sack it, and regenerate each creature you control. This guy's 100% going in. We got the Blazing Spectre. He's flying haste for 4. When he deals combat damage to a player, they discard a card. And Jared, oh, this is from the dual decks. Golgari Lich Lord. Very interesting card. He does a lot of things. I don't know if I'm going to put this one in, but maybe I will just for a little bit, just to see how it does. I see if people react to it well. Shivan Worm, 5 mana for a 7/7 trample. Seems good. When it comes into play, you get to bounce your FTK, though. That's the drawback. We have Glean Crawler. It is 6 mana for 6/6 trample. At the beginning of your end step, return to your hand all creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. He just wants to change my whole Golgari section here, which is great. Sisters of Stone Death. Wow, this card looks fun. It's 8 mana, 4, 2 black, 2 green for a 7/5. Pay a green. Target creature has to block it. Pay a black and a green. Remove from the game target creature blocking or blocked by it. Wow, it's a big game. And then for 2 and a black, put a creature card removed from the game with Sisters of Stone Death into play under your control. I want to try this. This card's very exciting to me, especially since it's green-black, which are the colors for Reanimators, so that's amazing. We have Alternate Art Fire and Ice. Agony Warp. Putrefy, which is great. Definitely needed this. Goblin Trenches. Unmake. Recoil. Return target permanent, so that includes lands, to its owner's hand, and then that player discards a card from his or her hand, and that's 3 mana instant. Jeez. Armadillo Cloak. This card is insane against the Karoo lands. Armadillo Cloak, 1, a green and a white. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has trample. Whenever enchanted creature deals damage, you gain that much life. Invoke the Firemind, 3 and X, and it's choose one. Either draw X cards or invoke the Firemind deals X damage to target creature or player. We have Prophetic Bolt, 4 damage to anything, and then you Impulse. So you look at the top 4 cards of your library, choose one, put it in your hand, the rest in the bottom. The Titanic Ultimatum. Until end of turn, creatures you control get +5/+5, first strike, lifelink, and trample. Whoa, that's probably the end of the game if you cast it. Elder Mastery, so it's 6 mana. Nicole Bolas colors, or Grixis. It's an aura. You enchant a creature, it gets +3/+3 flying. Whenever it deals combat damage, or whenever it deals damage at all to a player, that player discards 2 cards. We have Viridian Longbow. This is the combo. Equipped creature has tap to deal 1 damage to target creature or player. So you put this on a creature, and then you start pinging them, making them discard cards. Black Vice, personal favorite of mine. Ivory Tower. Oh man, this Ivory Tower has seen some love. Look at that. I love it. I love it. During your upkeep phase, gain 1 life for each card in your hand above 4. Sylvok Life Staff, it's 1 mana and 1 to equip. Creature gets +1/+0, and if it's put into the graveyard, you gain 3 life. Prophetic Prism, I just need some more mana rocks, so this is really good. When it enters the battlefield, you draw a card, it's 2 mana, and then you pay 1 and tap it to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. This actually isn't really a mana rock, it's more mana fixing. Whew. Okay. So this card is really good. It's really, really, really good. You build around this. There's so many creatures and things with so many creatures that enters the battlefield, abilities that you're always going to get value from this, from your own stuff, but you can also wait until your opponent taps out to play a creature, then you play Crystal Shards, bouncing that creature that they just played, and now they can't play it again unless they have an additional land, so that you don't just bounce it again. This card's really, really good. Serrated Arrows, Haunted Fengraf, and Stalking Stones. Excellent Stalking Stones. Really wanted one of these for the cube. Manlands are a good thing. Thank you all for sticking through this. And thanks again to MagicTheGatheringStrat.com for sending me all these amazing cards for the Noob Cube. We're definitely going to get a lot of use out of them. Thanks, everyone. Bye.